Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Uh-huh. So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
And now for something completely different.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Realities in Publishing Comics. I am Paul Gomez again, your host for this episode. It's episode 10, and we're here with a very special guest, Josh Nealis. How you doing?
Oh, what day is it? Is it Wednesday?
It is Wednesday, yeah.
I guess I'm doing middle of the week okay, I suppose.
Middle of the week, okay. I understand that. I mean, especially hitting so many cons that you've been doing, it's like back and forth. You having to kind of gain your ground and hitting a Kickstarter yourself recently.
Yep, yeah, it's been very hectic. I was on with Chuck last night talking about everything that's been going on, and right before this Kickstarter jumped off, like literally like a week before it. So 2 weeks ago, I released my newest novel too. Right before that, so it was editing hardcore before this, getting the Kickstarter ready, booking cons. I mean, booking podcasts like this and streams like this. So I mean, it's if you're trying to do it big, it's never ending.
Right, I understand definitely. That's that's one of the real reasons that I started this is that I really wanted to reach out to new creators or some of the creators that are out there, because I get a lot of questions about it myself, and it's like some of these things I didn't know how to do. I didn't know how to book these things. I didn't know how to get on podcasts. I've been struggling trying to get on Chuck's show. That's on my bucket list, as a matter of fact. Yeah. That's one of those things that I'm hoping to get checked off in this next year. But
he's booked up usually for a couple months typically. So luckily I think for the last Kickstarter I wasn't able to get on, except for he did like some random thing one day that I jumped on. But this time I messaged him a couple months ago and I was like, hey man, November. So
yeah, actually I got to say that I was on one of his panel shows, which I enjoyed, but talking to him one-on-one is a little different. I've actually had him on this show. I think it was either episode 2 or 3 he was on here. So that was definitely different as well, because I got to interview him as a little bit more than him interviewing me. But I've always been a fan of his show before I started as well. So it was kind of like one of those things that I always wanted to get on his show. And hopefully one day I will. But yeah, Chuck's a great friend. I can't say enough about him. Yeah. So like I was saying, that this is episode 10, and we're going to cover crowdfunding, specifically Kickstarters. And the main reason I say specifically Kickstarter is because I don't exactly know Indiegogo or Zoop or Crowdfunder that well to actually talk on it. Maybe I'll bring another guest on those specific platforms, but today we're really going to cover Kickstarters. How many Kickstarters have you done?
So this is my third. You could say it's my fourth, because I published a book for another creative team and they did a Kickstarter, which I helped them run and everything, but I really let them take the lead on it, and I just kind of was there for support. So yeah, three, 4.
Right. I personally have done about 4, and then I was part of one other one, which it was interesting to be able to sit back and watch them do it as opposed to handling it yourself. And I don't know how to tell people, because I get a lot of people that come up to me and ask about marketers and whatnot. Have you ever used anyone to help you put your Kickstarter together?
No. And it's I'm very pragmatic.
Right.
So I don't try to cut corners necessarily, but I will cut corners when it comes to I will figure it out myself, and then worst case scenario, if I can't figure it out, then I would go that route. But Yeah, I've pretty much always been able to figure stuff out. Like, I taught myself Photoshop off watching YouTube, and taught myself, how to edit books and comics and all that kind of, it's just kind of, you figure it out as you go. And people, one of the main questions I get asked is like, how did I get started? Or more often, especially in a lot of the groups, you'll get people, I'm new to this, what do I do?
Right.
And I try to comment on those when I see them, and I usually say something along the lines of, jump in feet first, bud.
Yeah, and like I said, we've covered several topics. We've covered the ideas of writing. We've covered script writing and hiring interior artists, cover artists and such. And that's really, I think, why I wanted to do this show, is because there are so many questions whenever it comes to Kickstarters. I mean, once you have that book done, letter, or even in the process of, getting to that final point, I tell people I try to not start a Kickstarter until I have my book at about 60 to 75% done.
Yep.
Do you wait to have yours done? Do you do it halfway? How do you do it?
Yeah. I mean, to each their own. There's no real right way to do it specifically. Right. I prefer to have it completely done, and this time, I've planned it out where as of right now, it's probably like 80% done roughly.
Right.
So all the covers are done, all the sketch pages and letters are done. It's just being colored. So, and I told my guy, Cristiano Reyna, has done all my interiors for all 12 of my comics. I told him, I was like, hey man, just get it done by December 1st ish.
Right.
Good. So,
and that's what I do too. It's like I said, I try to get them about 75% done before I start my Kickstarter. Yep. One thing I definitely tell people is, like, whenever you have a Kickstarter, you're going to have something to show people.
Yep.
And the main thing that you really want to show people and you want to have done before your Kickstarters are your cover pages.
Yep.
I mean, because covers sell comics. So whether you're putting one cover page or you're having a host of variant cover page, you want to have those to show and sell to people, especially if you decide to hire a name that's going to do a cover for you. Yeah. How many covers do you normally do? How many do you have on this Kickstarter?
So on this one, we have 6 technically, but there's 4, but we did 2. We did one that's like a black and white Kickstarter exclusive.
Right.
And then we did a virgin variant of Tyler Haddock's cover. But covers are, I think some people in this industry, and it's almost cliche to say, and it's almost like kind of I don't want to say it's a shitty thing to say, but like you just said, covers are what sells your book. That's right. What draws people's eyes. That's the first thing they see. And I think there are people out there, I'm not naming any names and I'm not judging anybody. Like I said, there's a million ways to do things, but for me, you better knock your cover out of the park.
Right.
And if you're doing variants, the same thing, because I can tell you right now from doing cons, I think my covers typically there's a couple of my covers that I'm like, that one's not the best, but it's still okay. Most of my covers, anybody will tell you, are very eye-catching. And right. I see people all the time. I mean, they will do like hard look at my covers. And that's what, as soon as I see them seeing it, I'm like, hey, come here, So it's, I think people, if people are watching this and thinking like, I'm going to get into doing this kind of stuff, you better knock your covers out. Think of, I tried to explain it like this, like last week or something on a TikTok or something. It was a couple weeks ago. And I said, whatever it is you're trying to do it more. And by more, I don't mean more issues. I mean more creative, more intense, more ridiculous, more dramatic. Whatever idea you have for, per se, a cover, like we're talking, take it up a notch. Get the idea and then add to it to make it more interesting.
Right. I mean, it really does have to pull a person's eye. And we covered a lot of stuff when we did the segment on the episode on covers. We talked about how sometimes you get a named person out there to help, push your book. The thing about it is, whenever you're doing a Kickstarter, you definitely want to have those covers done beforehand, because if the customer can't see it, they don't know what they're buying. And you see a lot of Kickstarters out there, they'll be like, and I'm just going to pull a name out of my head, like a cover from Alan Qua, if he's doing a cover and it's to coming soon or something like that, a lot of people ain't gonna buy it, and you get most of your. I don't want to say most of your sales. I want to get I say you get a good chunk of them that first few days. So you definitely want to have those covers done before you start your Kickstarter.
Yeah, I think my first one, I'm trying to remember, because we've done it. I think it was the Kickstarter exclusive cover. I can't remember if I forgot to add the photo in the story or something.
Right.
But, and then like 2 or 3 days later, somebody mentioned like, hey, where's that at? And I was like, oh, crap.
Yeah, right.
I thought I maybe missed on some sales because I think that's which cover it was, but, I forgot.
And that goes to another part of it, having a Kickstarter exclusive. This is something that I never knew until like the last campaign, and that you could do something like this. But I mean, really, you can do anything you want.
Right.
I actually had a Kickstarter exclusive cover on one campaign, and then on another campaign, I did a Kickstarter exclusive where it was kind of like a trade, where it combined a few of my issues, and it was just on Kickstarter. So those are some ideas that you should definitely run around in your head.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other things that I like to tell people first about Kickstarter is make sure you have those demo pages, at least 6 or 7 pages. Well, and again, depending on how many pages your comic is,
Right.
6 or 7 pages of everything done. Your lines, your colors if you're doing colors, and your lettering and everything. So the customers can see what they're going to be getting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I did just 2 pages this one. I might have done 3 on the last one, but it's
Right.
We do 24-page interiors, so I was like 2 pages, and the first 2 pages of this one specifically, I think, are very strong. So
Yeah. Yeah, and definitely, like, you want something that's going to catch their eye, but also let them read at least a page of your story.
Yeah.
And I usually try to do about 6 or 7 because the last book I put out was 33 pages, I think. Yeah. So that's the reason I did so many. But again, it's like one of those things that if you don't know, to have something that's finished with the letters and everything done, that you probably wouldn't think about it.
Yeah, you gotta give people something to kind of see what they're getting into.
Yeah, and
you can have an amazing cover with just like trash book. You gotta both. So
right, and whenever you're doing Kickstarters, they're so customizable, I think, compared to most. I know that I've seen some Kickstarters that had not only the intro video, but had videos on their covers and then had another video for their interiors separately. This was one thing that I thought was a little bit interesting because I had never seen that before. Did you do a video for yours?
Yeah. So like I said, I'm very pragmatic. I have an editing software. My computer's pretty slow though. And for me to use it, I would have to like almost relearn it because I haven't used it in a long time. But the last 2, I've made a TikTok because you can kind of add a couple different videos in there.
Yeah. And
then I'll just post the TikTok. It downloads the video automatically to my phone, and then I just delete the TikTok.
Hey, it works. I mean, anything to get it done.
Yeah, I'm not fancy in the way of, and some people's videos are awesome. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the work they put into them, I mean, it's fantastic, but everybody has different resources. Everybody sees things a little different. And, for me, I think I'm just gonna, I have like a little almost like how Marvel, when their shows start, it has the same Marvel thing every time.
Yeah.
I have a thing I made for Cutthroat Comics that every video I do has that little signature thing on it. Yeah. So I make sure I put that on there as a little bit of flash. But mostly it's just me saying, hey, check this out. So,
And that's one of the things. I mean, I always tell people, always put a video. Whether you're recording yourself on your phone, whether you're doing something a little bit different like you did with TikTok. I personally have been studying my some software that I got so I could do videos. I think one of my videos myself, me and my kids were doing it as a project at home. But the thing about it is, it's like I see all these Kickstarters and they don't even have the videos. It's like, it doesn't take but a minute or two to do a video to introduce your customers to your product. I know a very good friend of mine is always saying, at least do a video that speaking has a little bit of voice and a background music. But me personally, I tell people, as long as you got a video, you know, even if it's something like one of these campaign videos, you download it and put it up there and talk about your comic. It's better than not having nothing in there for your customers to see.
Well, and I tell people all the time, the customers you meet at cons and stuff like that, I mean, they're buying your books, but ultimately they're buying you. Yeah. They're buying into your art and your idea. So not only are you selling your story, your characters, the artwork that you, as a writer, I paid for and helped create, but you're selling yourself as an artist. And I think ultimately that's what people respond to the most is the person they meet. And if they like that person and the concepts sound interesting, then they'll buy it.
Right. Definitely. I definitely agree with that. So let's talk about tiers. How do you come up with the tiers for yours?
I mean, you know, mine are just kind of basically simple. I mean, I try to do each time I've done like a catch-up package. Like I said, I've got 12 books total. So I offer everything in case it's somebody new that is just now coming across my stuff, so they can get caught up on every comic. And then I used to do 3 separate series. I think I put each series in there in case they don't want, you know, one of the series or 2 of the series. They just want one. Each cover has its own tier, and then I buy all the covers for an exclusive price. So I even go as far as on Kickstarter, my variant covers are $8, but outside of the Kickstarter, once they hit the real world, I mark them up to 10. So, you know, I'm giving people, you know, a deal by helping me out with the Kickstarters and stuff. So
definitely. I mean, that's great to do. And having a catch-up Kickstarter is always great. You see some of these comics that are on issue like 4, 5, or 6, and they don't have the back or the catch-up tiers, and you're like, how do I know if I'm going to want to, you know, just read this issue as opposed to not having the whole series compared to? One of the main things I try to do in any of my Kickstarters is digital packages. Yep. Do you do PDFs on yours?
So yeah, I do. I did PDFs on the first one, and boy, that was a pain to like email everybody because they wouldn't fit. And so what I ended up doing on the second one and this one, it's just a Dropbox link. You get the links, you can check it out. I don't even know if you can download it. Cool, I don't give a shit. You pay for it. You're not gonna do my work. I'm gonna find out about it, and I'm gonna sue you.
Right. Yeah, and that's, I think, one of the things that a few creators are worried about. You're going to send these PDFs and then they're going to share it around, or they're going to copy it. Me personally, the way I've always said, if someone's going to try to steal my material, then obviously I'm good enough to be stolen from. And they're not going to be able to write the next issue because they don't exactly have the same mind as me or know where these characters or story arcs are going to go. Yeah. But so I never really worried about getting stolen on PDFs. I love PDFs because, I mean, that's really, how do you say it? Pure profit. I mean, because you don't have to do anything to buy a print, or you don't have to, you know, even send the items, you know, that are unlocked. Yeah. So, I mean, everything whenever you sell digital is pure profit. And I love to have a digital of the comic that you got, and then a catch-up tier. I also try to do a tier of my complete work. So it's like on Bushibu, I did just a single issue of the number 2. Then I did a catch-up of 1 and 2, and then I did a complete works of my work as well. Right. Like I said, I don't think a lot of creators realize that that's just like a pure profit as compared to, you know, selling one book and having to ship it and whatnot. Yep. And it also opens overseas, because if you're only sending to the United States, I don't know if you send overseas or not, but I usually don't send international.
Yeah, I sold one book to one guy in England or something like that, and it was like $30 just to ship it there. And it's like no, I'm not even gonna offer it. I mean, I feel bad, but really, I haven't had too many people overseas want my stuff anyway yet.
Right.
So, and if that gets to be an issue, you know, like let's say out of nowhere, I get like 30 people that want my books in England, I'll figure it out. But until then, I've got more shit to worry about than just that. But yeah, it's I don't know. Digital's okay. I'm more of a collector anyway. I like the hard copy.
Yeah.
But I do offer digital. I actually, on my con tables, I have flash drives that I have my work
Me
on.
too. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you know, I've had a few customers at the first few conventions that asked me, you know, do you have digital? And I didn't see that many people out there with them, but I saw one person that had those flash drives. So I looked into it myself, and I decided to offer it because I do know that there are some people that prefer digital.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I'd rather not, how do you say it, lose a fan because I didn't have it. So I looked into it, got it. And now the price point on selling it at a convention compared to selling it on Kickstarter, like I said, on Kickstarter, it's pure profit because you're just emailing it. Having to buy the flash drive and get that all done usually takes a few extra dollars. But that's a great thing to do.
$1.25 or $2.15 or something like so. And like, yeah, my flash drives, I think I have 3 options. I've got all the comics, all the books, or all of everything. I don't remember what my prices are, but it's very reasonable because it's a digital copy. I want to say it's like $40 for 12 comics or something like, or 14 comics.
That's awesome.
Published 2 for other people, and the books are also for. I can't remember. I don't know. Every time I add shit to it, I have to up the price just a little bit, so I can never remember what it is.
Right. Yeah, I definitely understand that. Like I said, I started looking into it and putting them on my table, I think about a month or 2 ago myself. But you know, getting back to Kickstarters, the tiers, I love putting a tier of, you know, like you said, the book, the variants, and then like a complete package of all the variants. Mm-hmm. Do you do any extras like T-shirts and hats and stuff like that?
Not on the Kickstarters. I have hats. They're nice. I did T-shirts when I kind of first started out, and I regretted it. Like I sold them eventually, but man, it's when you're not selling that many of them, it's really hard to keep them in stock in the different sizes. You know, although they're just shirts, it is bulky. It's hard to carry a big ass box of T-shirts around. And I remember another guy I know was starting out, and he's like, "Hey man, where'd you get your T-shirts?" And I said, "Don't do T-shirts." And then he ended up doing T-shirts, and I was like, "I told you not to do T-shirts, but whatever."
Now I'm agreeing with you. Don't do T-shirts, but I'm gonna say, you know, if you do T-shirts, just make sure you understand what it entails. Yep. You do have the wide range of sizes. You do have to figure out the printing cost of the shirts, and I think the most important thing that you have to figure out if you do T-shirts or hats or stuff like that is going to be the shipping cost, because a lot of people don't put into consideration. Okay. For just a comic book, if you're sending, you know, a flat rate box, it's about $8 to $10. It varies from time to time. But if you're going to throw a T-shirt or a hat, it's not going to fit in that box. Yep. So that price of shipping is going to go up. And that's definitely one of the things that you have to keep an eye on whenever you're making your tiers. Yep. I like to tell people to include stuff that's going to fit in that box.
Yep, magnets, stickers. Shit like that.
Mini prints.
A lot of people do pens.
Yeah. See, these are the things that I love to tell people to do because it's going to fit in that same box and it's not going to cost you any extra. One of the last things that I included in my Kickstarter was a red nose. Because again, I got a circus theme on mine, so it was like one of those foam red noses. But the thing about it was going to fit in the box because it could flatten out. Yeah, and the great thing about it is I know they opened it up and it just popped out too. Cool. So it was like an added experience for my customers.
Yeah, I like when people do that. Yeah. That kind of stuff where it's something like, oh, that's clever. Yeah. For me, I don't like. I do stretch goals. Typically, I do like we're at last I checked, we're at $900. When we get to 1,000, then I will offer signing the books.
Yeah.
And then I think it's like 11 or 1200 bucks. Everybody gets a PDF of the script.
Yeah.
Which I think is cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's a neat thing to send because then people can read through it and go like, that's not the line that's in the book. So they can see my original thoughts on it.
Right.
I don't change the script as I go. Like when Cristiano sends me the pages, if I have a better line then, or if the way he drew it doesn't look like they're saying what I need them to say, then I'll change it. But yeah, I don't know. To me, I don't know. When I back somebody's Kickstarter, I don't care about the stretch goals. Just give me the book. Let me check it out. I don't need stickers and magnets and pins. If I get them, cool. That's great. To me, give it to other people. Give it to non-comic creating people.
Right.
But
And Jeff Mute is chiming in on comments. He's asking about how about different art tiers, like original art and stuff like that. I know a lot of people that go to Kickstarter, they love art tiers, especially original art of the pages or the cover pages. Do you ever think about including stuff like that on your Kickstarters?
Yep. Actually, I think Ed Davis does that, doesn't he? I believe.
Yeah.
So this Kickstarter and the last one, Tyler Haddix did a cover, and he offered up the original art to his cover.
Yeah.
And both times it sold, and I mean that's a big chunk. That got us on Turkey Sharks #2. The original art sold first. It was the first thing to go, and so we were funded in like 45 minutes.
Yeah, and a previous episode we were talking about hiring interior artists and hiring cover artists, and this is one of the questions that I tell them to ask before. How involved they're going to be on the Kickstarter, and if they're going to offer some original arts, and you need to talk to these artists before really starting to see if there's going to be a split, if you're going to put it on a Kickstarter kind of thing, and how you're going to handle it. Because having original art is definitely a tremendous advantage. I don't know how it is for other people, but me as a writer creator, I'm kind of at the artist's mercy to that subject. But you're right. I mean, having it on a Kickstarter is a tremendous help. It helps you hit that goal just so fast. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's for me, it's one of those things too where I'm like, man, I kind of hope it doesn't sell because then maybe I'll buy it. And
right.
If Tyler does it's like an actual painting, on acrylic, and to me, the one he did for Turkey Sharks 2 is great, and I would have loved to have that one. The one he did for this one it's an American Gothic homage. So if you're familiar with that painting, the guy with the pitchfork, so he did an homage to that for this one, and like that one would look great in anybody's home because it's like an actual painting of an actual painting. And the person that got that, they're very lucky. I mean, they paid a hefty fee for it, but I think it's worth it because it's cool as shit.
And the great thing about it is you have that outlet to put it. I mean, the artist has the outlet to put it out there to get seen, and the fact that they're offering it is always a great thing, not only for the artist, but the creator or whoever's running the Kickstarter. So let's talk about stretch goals. You mentioned a few of the stretch goals. You said the PDFs of the scripts, you do signings at a certain point. I usually kind of recommend, like I said, smaller things that can fit in the box. I usually recommend like mini prints, cards, like bookmarkers and stuff like that. Do you do anything else other than those?
Yeah, I think as my Kickstarters grow and stuff, I'm gonna do more things. Right now, let's see. I don't remember what the numbers are, but so yeah, we got. I'll sign the books. Then we got the script. Man, what was after that? Then I think we're giving away Tales of Shock and Terror digital file. A Nightwolf one by Rob Maltari is also after that. And then we get into like the hard stuff that I have to pay for. I've got some magnets of some of our characters, and we made them look like you remember those Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ice creams? So we made my characters look like those little magnets.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we'll give away one magnet, and then we hit the next one. We'll give away 2. And if we were to knock that out of the water, I would come up with something else. But that'd be awesome. Make me do work, I guess.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, once you get to those stretch goals, you're like happy to be at that point, because Kickstarters are very stressful.
Yeah.
And I don't think new creators realize how stressful it is. I mean, it's something some creators handle differently than others. I know creators that are kind of watching it 24/7 kind of thing. Me personally, I was always trying to keep off of it for at least a day or two, but I was still trying to advertise it. How do you advertise your Kickstarters?
Yeah, I mean, doing these things is big. Right. I have found that has been successful, and it's also a good way to network. And you and I have talked briefly on that one Chuck thing we did.
Yeah.
And I think we've exchanged some messages or something, but we've never talked like this.
Right.
And I think that's important because you pick brains, you make friends, and then also, I've shared it. You get a word to my platform people. I get a word to yours. I mean, it's all networking and stuff. I post a lot, a lot more than normal during these times because, and you have to, because again, I keep bringing up Chuck and I talked last night about the algorithm on a lot of these social medias.
Yeah.
It's crushing a lot of us. So you have to post a lot, and I hate it because I'm not the type of artist that is really bugging people 24/7 for everything. And even at like cons and stuff, like I'm not the carny caller.
Yeah.
And I'm not the person that just lets people walk by. I'm kind of in between where
as
soon as I see them lock eyes with my table, then I'm like, yo, hey, come here. But yeah, I don't like bugging people, and I try not, I post daily typically, even outside of Kickstarters. During Kickstarters, I'm probably posting, I don't know, 3 times, 2 or 3 times. And it's, I hate clogging up people's feed, but it's like, I don't really have a choice because Facebook and Twitter and all that, they're just going to bury us if we don't.
Right. I mean, those algorithms, they've changed drastically. I mean, from the first time that I started a campaign to now, it's like a totally different animal.
It's and right now, it seems like.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I wasn't exactly this type of person that posted like at all before, and I was never on Twitter or Instagram before I started my comics myself. So it's like I didn't really want to clog people's feeds, but I understand that if you post about 4 or 5 times, some people will only see it once anyway. So,
or not at all.
People,
wait, you ran a Kickstarter? Yeah, for 30 days. I posted 3 times a day. You didn't see it? No, I didn't see it.
So, I mean, you have to get out there. Now, I do agree with a lot of people because there's a lot of them that say not to beg. But again, I believe there's a difference between advertising and begging. There's a fine line about it. And I know some people cross that line. But if you're just posting, showing what you're offering, it's not exactly begging. It's more like, hey, this is what I got. This is where you can see it. This is what's happening. Kind of.
That reminds me of something. I before I started, because this is like the 6th stream podcast thing I've done, something like that. I actually had thought about before this because I figured it would come up. For the new people out there, and this is my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of other people probably will agree with me. Do not cold message people you don't know and literally put your Kickstarter and don't say anything else. For me, blocked instant. It's just, that's not cool because people, as much as we want to move our art and it's important to us to get our ideas out in the world, people are not numbers.
Right.
You have to engage with your audience. You have to show them that yes, you want them to buy your stuff, but they're people too, and they deserve your time and attention as much as you deserve theirs. So doing shit like that I think that's pretty trash.
And I agree with you. One of my first mentors, he was really teaching me how the industry worked. And with that first campaign, he would tell me, hey, you got to post. And I would post like the digital advertisements or whatnot that came in because I had a marketing service. They actually did the digital for me on the first one. And he was like, you're not engaging the people. You have to talk to them. Mm-hmm. Even though you're putting, the digital banner of the Kickstarter and stuff, you got to talk to them each time you post and tell them, hey, this is what's going on with my project. If you want to take a look at my project, this is what it's about. This is who I am. And it makes it more personal. It makes it that you're trying to talk to somebody as opposed to saying, hey, just go buy this. I mean, why aren't you buying this? And that's why I say there's definitely a difference between begging and advertising. If you're putting yourself out there, that's one thing. But if you're just throwing it, especially in DMs, and just putting that Kickstarter, that I understand annoys me. I know it annoys much of people.
It was a couple months ago was the last one I got one like that, where it was just straight up, and I didn't even know the person, was not even friends with them. And I was like right there about to just lay into him. And I was like, you know what? No, block. And that was it. Couldn't even tell you who it was. So,
yeah. No, I understand. Like I said, it's been a learning curve for me because I just started this past year as well.
Right. Yeah, dude. And you're doing pretty damn well. I'm very surprised. Like,
thank you.
I was like, man, this guy's out there doing it, man. And I respect that. To me,
thank you.
Because I work very hard. When I see other people that I'm like, this guy's working just as hard as me, or if not more, I don't know what your other life is about, if you have jobs and all that, but I respect people that hustle. And I think that those of us that do hustle hard see that.
Yeah.
So keep it up, man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. But talking about Kickstarters, one of the main things I definitely want to bring up is the campaigning. So getting onto shows and stuff, we're going to have a completely other episode about getting onto streams and how to do that. But I definitely feel that it's one of those things that you have to do, especially if you're going to do a Kickstarter, because how are you going to advertise it? I mean, you're not going to only digital market on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, but you're going to go on streams, right?
Yep. Yeah. And those, and you got to get out to cons, man. Cons to me, like I said, I've been doing, well, I guess I didn't say it on here. I've been doing this since 2015.
Yeah.
I didn't do a Kickstarter until last year for the first time.
Right.
So I spent 6 years building an audience, learning how to talk to people about my books and how to pitch my ideas and stuff to people. And then now, as you can see, I get on a stream. I know what the hell I'm talking about. I know what to say. You ask me a question, I have an answer for the most part. So it all works together. A lot of people seem to rely strictly on Kickstarters, which is great. That's fine. Other people rely strictly on the cons. Also great. That's what I did for a long time. And now that I'm good at that thing, now I'm working into this thing. You add it together, and now you're going to start building an audience quicker.
Yeah, definitely. I tell new creators that, me personally, you have to have a business plan going into it. No matter what comic you make. And just because your business plan is different than others, that's okay. As long as you feel like that's the plan that's comfortable for you.
Yeah.
Me personally, it was like a trident, and I kind of try to stick to that, where it's Kickstarter first, con second, LCS is after that. And it's one of those things that one person might not feel comfortable with one part of that. It's like you said, you might not feel comfortable with Kickstarters. You might not feel comfortable with cons. There's always different avenues. Right now I'm looking into Whatnot, and that's a different beast altogether.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, talking about Kickstarters more is like, what other information would you give to a new creator jumping into a Kickstarter? I mean, is there any information that needs to be put on that Kickstarter page other than the tiers and the subject matter?
I mean, you got to have your elevator pitch, right? I mean, you got to know the best way to sell your book. You have to make that paragraph or whatever, 3-4 sentences, make it catchy, make it quick, to the point. You can make it clever. You just gotta. And that comes with knowing your work, knowing what your work's about, talking to people about your work, and knowing, when I say that it's about a black cat, people don't really seem to care about that. But when I say it's about a super squirrel, then people perk up. So the hell with the black cat, mention the super squirrel.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, just to cover what we really talked about, there was the videos, there's the tiers, there's the the things that the bonus items, and really the information. One of the last things that I really tell people about on a Kickstarter is make sure you're including your team, because whether you have a vet that's going to be editing it, or somebody who's a big name that's doing a cover, or one of the interior artists who's done something for Marvel before. That's going to help sell your book. So make sure you put a little bit of a bio sometimes. It helps just to get you out there and give you a little reputation as well, especially being new. If somebody's on your team that has been doing it, you never know who's going to see it that they know.
That's kind of a I don't know if I'd call him a friend, but a guy I know and I see him at cons all the time. Dirk Manning. He posted one time saying something along those lines where make sure you're giving your team credit.
Yes.
And I kind of always did that, but now
Right.
I'm very more aware to make sure I mention the artists and stuff like that. I mention Christgau all the time because as a writer, without the art team, like I'm just doing novels, which is fine. I like doing my novels. But I love comic books, and without the artists, I'm just a novelist. So, on this one specifically, we got Seth DeMoose did our A cover. Cristiano Reyna did all the interiors, and he did 2 covers as well. And then Tyler Haddix came on and did his cover, and there's a virgin variant of that. And I mean, these dudes are fantastic. They're 3 of the best people out there, and for me, that's something I look at too. I try to pick the best artists for and art is subjective, but I pick the art that I like the most and the guys that are going to knock it out of the park, guaranteed. So I think
and
well with that.
And you got to always remember, it's not just you doing the comic. It's a creative team that's doing a collaborative, effort from everybody, and you're hoping that everybody you hire is going to be proud of this project. So definitely give everybody credit. Make sure you put their names out there because they're part of it.
Yep.
That's really just about all I have on Kickstarter at the moment. Let's talk about you a little bit. So, I mean, you're out there knocking it out of the park. Cutthroat Comics, what's going on with that so far?
Yeah, I mean, we've been going since 2015. More or less, it's just me. So when I say we, I mean me. Right. And of course, I've had the privilege to work with a lot of really good people, a lot of really good artists, like Sean Forney, Rodney Fike, Brian Silverbacks, Tyler Haddix, Cristiano Reyna. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. Matt Hort from Marvel did a cover for us a while back. So although it is just me running the show, people have put their seal of approval on my books, specifically on my comics, because I would like to think that even though, yes, I'm paying them, they're not going to do the work unless they believe in the project. I didn't catch that comment. Whatever.
Oh, he was talking. That was the comment about the art tier, original art tiers.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah, we're on my personal comic book number 12, which is Turkey Sharks 3.
That's awesome.
Kickstarter's been going. It started on the 1st, so we're 9 days in, and we're sitting at $900. So that's pretty decent, I think, for just a little over a week. So I do things a little bit different than probably most people. I set my funding goal at just 500 right now. I'm probably going to up it on the next one maybe, but to me, I mean, just in case something were to go awry, I want to make sure it's worth my time. So for me to get this Kickstarter all set up and everything, $500 is worth my time.
Right.
Really on this one. So the last one we did like 1,600. This one I'd love to hit like $2,000. That's like my goal. Like I said, this is my 3rd Kickstarter, and of course I do cons and signings and all that stuff all the time. And we have a website that we do some sales off of too. But I did 9 books, 9 comics, and I paid for every single one of them out of pocket.
Yeah. And
now it's at the point where, I can't continue just dropping loads of money at this. I have to be able to make it, a more sustainable business. So that's why I started doing the Kickstarters. And plus, it helps build your audience and reach more people, which is the ultimate goal, right? It's not about money, even though money equals or sales equal money, but really it's about getting readers and all that. And I don't care, if I make $1 per book or whatever. I mean, I make a little bit more than that, but it's for me, it's about getting my ideas and my stories into people's hands and in their heads, and I think that's the best way to look at it. It's not about fame, it's not about money, it's about the art.
Yeah, it's about the and again, for different people, it's different things. I agree with you, though. It's really about that expression and getting it out there. To me, it originally started as a hobby with me and my kids, and now it's just a passion that grew from that.
Yep.
So I mean, it's really different for everybody, but I definitely understand that ideal of starting your comic, pulling it out of your pocket, so you're not really depending on anyone. Also, one of the things that we didn't talk about, the Kickstarter goals, which I'm glad you alluded to. I've always kept mine low, and that was one of the advices that I got early on. You never know if it's going to fund, especially if you try to hit a higher goal.
Yep.
You definitely have to keep an eye on what you're going to put out there as a goal and
Yep.
what you're using the goal for. Me personally, I used my goal for printing mostly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was like, I paid enough for the art and everything else, and I was hoping to recoup that, which I did in most cases at the cons or at LCSs. So I was just aiming for a printing cost set on mine.
Right. Well, and everybody's in different situations too. Not everybody is able to come out of pocket up front.
Right.
So like I said, I get when people make their goal a little higher. But unfortunately, I'm sure you've seen it too. People don't hit it, and it's like I feel bad for them. But it is what it is. It's the world is not just going to give you something because you try.
Right.
It's
right. You got to hustle. You got to, I mean, if it's your passion, you got to work for it. This isn't something that you just write a story and it goes out there and you're going to become famous overnight. It's something that you definitely have to put, all that work and effort into it. And I think a lot of creators don't understand that. That's definitely one of the reasons that I wanted to start this show, to kind of give that introspective.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of people, they'll come to me or whatever, and maybe it's somebody I know for a long time or somebody at a con, and they're like, oh, I wrote a book, but nobody buys it. It's like, well, you never post about it. You never talk about it. You almost have to be shameless. Yeah. And it sucks. It's kind of not an alter ego, but like an anti-ego thing where you're like, I don't want to push this on people, but you have to kind of.
Yeah. I mean, you have to get it out there. I had a friend, and I'm sorry if I'm going on a tangent. I had a friend that I met while I was doing signings, and he had 3 books. He had 3 books that were graphic novels, and they were about 80 pages each. His art was off the chart. I mean, it was beautiful. And he said that he came up to me. He was like, how did you get yours funded? And I was like, I told him, and he was like, I can't do that. I can't go out there. I can't. And he wasn't a type of person that could talk.
Right.
But I mean, his book was beautiful. He hand lettered it. He did all the colors and he did everything for it. And it was it's a shame because his book's still not out there. And I it's been like a year, because it was at the beginning of whenever I started, and to see something like that, some people that don't understand what it takes.
It's a business, and I think there's a YouTube channel I watch from time to time, and this guy talks about Fred Durst sometimes, and he praises Fred Durst on the fact that Fred Durst understood that he's not necessarily in the music business, which he is, but he's in the attention business.
Yes.
And we are kind of like that too. And unfortunately, some people may be great artists, but it has to be more than that. You have to have that business side of you. And there's something I say pretty often to people, and it's kind of hyperbolic, but I think it stands to logic a little bit. And I often say the greatest novel ever written was only ever read by the guy that wrote it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So again, it's hyperbolic, but it ultimately it means like, you still have to get out and push your stuff. Just because you write something, that's a great achievement, and it is to write a full novel or get a comic done. But you got to get out and hustle.
And you got to find a way. That's what it is. That's one of the reasons I praise all these people who promote things, because some people don't know how to do it. So I'm glad that there are people like Pops and Catch the Craze and Tyler Carpenter and all these people that Chuck, for having a show that helps people get out there.
Yep.
Now, we're hitting about the 10-minute mark till the hour. Let's go ahead and look at your project real fast and see what you got here.
Sure.
I'm not exactly sure how to do this, Pops. Yeah.
Oh, just share the screen down there where it says present.
Okay.
Do you have this Kickstarter pulled up?
Yeah.
Okay, where it says present down at the bottom of the screen, click that.
Yeah.
Window opens up.
Uh-huh.
Okay, down in the lower left hand of the window, there's a little button that says share audio. Lower left hand corner.
I don't see it. I see share screen.
No, when you pop that screen up, when that screen opens up, when you hit present, and that screen opens up, there should be a little window down in the bottom left hand corner, a little button, a little spot to click that says share audio.
No, I don't see it, Pops.
Did you click on share screen?
I'm trying right now.
You got to click on share screen to see it. You got to click on share screen. And then a window opens up.
Yeah, I'm seeing it. But...
There you go. There you go.
Hey.
All right. Now that's.
You got to pick the right screen, though.
I got to pick the right screen. Okay.
When that window opens up, it's going to show you every tab that you have open. You got to pick the right one. When you go, like it'll say Chrome, hit Chrome, and then pick the tab where his
Let's try this one. No.
Yeah.
That's not working.
Almost. Getting there.
Okay, when you open that window, when it says share screen, and you click on that, hit Chrome tab.
I don't see that.
Hit Chrome tab.
I don't see a Chrome tab.
Across the top, entire screen, window, Chrome tab.
Microsoft Edge tab.
Oh, you're in Microsoft. That's the freaking problem. All right. Hit that.
Yeah.
Now you should have a list of your open tabs right there.
It just says StreamYard. Oh, wait.
Yeah. You're going to have to learn to do this, Paul. You're running the show.
I'm trying. There you go.
There it is. See that?
All right.
There it is.
We picked up a couple since I've been sitting here, so that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We are sharing this out to like 7 different or 8 different destinations. It's on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. It's all over the place. So that's why we do it. Hopefully to get you some extra backers. All right, yeah. I'm out, y'all.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Bob. All right, so can we watch this video real fast?
If you want, man. It's stupid.
Did you share the audio?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. Let's check.
I'll narrate it. That's my shit. Hey, what's up, everybody? Josh from Cutthroat Comics here, and we are back. Turkey Sharks number 3, and you can also get caught up on 1 and 2, and this Kickstarter is ready to roll. This is a fun one. Buddy is back, the Super Squirrel. He wasn't in the last one, but now he's in this one. So you're going to want to see what he's been up to. It's fun. It's funny. It's got some sadness. It's got some heart. But it's mostly friggin' ridiculous. So scroll our Kickstarter, take a look at a couple preview pages, and look at our 5 this time. Down front, well, we had 4. Now we're on 5. 5 covers of this one. We got the Tyler J. Haddix cover, which is fantastic. It goes right along with the story. So it was too perfect not to do. We got our Jackass movie poster spoof cover done by Cristiano Reyna. We've got our Demon in a Bottle Iron Man homage cover. And that one also came out fantastic and also ties into the story. And then Seth the Moose, first time working for Cutthroat Comics. He did our A cover. And a little special for you guys. We got the Kickstarter exclusive, which is that cover, but it's Seth's original art. It's his black and white sketch cover, and that's going to be our Kickstarter exclusive. Only available on this Kickstarter. After that, you will never be able to get it again, and I won't sell it to you, even if you trade me your mother, because she is beautiful. Check out the Kickstarter. Thank you for backing. Thank you for looking. Cutthroat Comics, Ohio's most offbeat publisher since 2015.
Awesome.
Yeah, see, it gets the job done.
That's some good stuff right there.
Yeah.
All right, so we got the story here. The third time's the charm. Hey, folks, welcome back. Hope you're ready for another ridiculous, heartwarming. No, that's wrong. Ridiculous, but well, just ridiculous installment of Turkey Sharks.
Yeah, so there's a couple pages. I mentioned that Buddy the Super Squirrel was not in the last one. He's been off fighting a war against the groundhogs. So
Awesome.
he's back fighting the groundhogs. And actually that second panel there where the brains are getting squished out, initially I had it written as he jumps down and twists the neck of the groundhog. And my 7-year-old, I was telling him about it, and he's like, no. He's like, have him smash his head. And I was like, that's better. So he wrote that panel.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's just, see, some of my book is cool and dark and the humans have character, but like some of it's just so stupid.
And that's a great thing about comics. I mean, you have that escapism in it sometimes that just pulls you out and lets your mind wander with that imagination.
So that's the Merciful Gang up there on the A cover and the Kickstarter exclusive. This is their first appearance. So this is a first appearance of 6 characters. So if you're into that type of thing, you never know. You never know. So it's a good one to hop on. And then I love Jackass, and I had the idea to do a spoof. That's all my characters in the shopping cart. And then Ginger Avenger there is actually dealing with depression and some alcoholism. So obviously you want to do the Iron Man homage.
Iron Man, yeah,
it worked out perfectly. And I thought it was pretty clever if me and Cristiano put our logo and stuff on the bottle there.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of like something funny to put on the bottle, and I was like, you know what, just put the logo and stuff on it. And it came out pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, it came out great.
Yep. And then there's Tyler's cover, the American Gothic homage cover. That's the trade dress. And this happens in the book. They actually go to that farm, and he uses a pitchfork to kill some aliens. So it worked out perfectly to do this for this book.
And then you got that logo right there, or is that the signature of the artist?
His little signature, yeah. And then down below, so I said 5 covers. We're doing 6 because I didn't realize we were going to do the Virgin variant of that.
Right.
So, which that Virgin's, I mean, it's beautiful. He did a really, really good job. Yeah. Yep. And that's why, like I said, we offered up that original art. So somebody's getting a really cool painting. And then we've got some of the A cover and 2 of the variants from the first Turkey Sharks, the Brian Silverbacks, the Chris Mad. That Chris Mad cover actually won Cover of the Year for the Independent Creator Awards.
That's awesome.
Yep. That one moves pretty quick too. People really love that. Somebody bought that original art down in Florida at MegaCon too, I guess. And then Turkey Sharks 2, we got our A cover, and then the Rodney Fike and Sean Forney cover, which is the Wildcats homage, and then Tyler's Zebo the Drunk Homeless Robot cover. So, and those are all, you can still get all those in this too. So not only can you get caught up, but you can get some of the variants, and all those variants are like 200 print run roughly. So
that's great.
Yeah, and I try to keep my stuff. Like I said, it's they're $8 now for the variants. They're gonna go up to 10 after this is over. So hop on that. And I try to keep my stuff very affordable. Some people charge a lot for their books. I try to keep mine. I'm about moving units. I'm not about making $1 million. That will hopefully come later down the road.
Right.
So I want people to be able to afford my books and get them.
Anything else you wanted to see real fast on your Kickstarter?
Yeah, we
24 backers. 21 days to go.
Yeah, we're doing all right, man.
Doing
like
great,
at $1,000, we start hitting the stretch goals. So you'll start getting, I'll sign all the books, and you'll get the script, and I mean, who knows, if we hit over $2,000, then I might do some bookmarks or something like that. I don't know. We'll figure out.
Yeah. I mean, because that Kickstarter looks great. Like I said, putting a video in there, even if it's just something that's you talking about it, it definitely helps and lends to that credibility, you know. So before we go, we're hitting the hour mark. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the audience?
Watch this show, man. This was fun. It was good. I think what you're trying to do is a good idea.
Thank you for stopping by. I always enjoy talking to you. I mean, we've talked in the past, but it's great talking to you again. I want to make sure that everybody goes and checks your Kickstarter. That's Turkey Sharks issue 3. Of course, you can get 1, 2 on that, and make sure you back the project.
Yeah.
Thank you all for coming. My name's Paul Gomez. This was Josh Nealis. Have a great day.
I'm no longer.
The original intention of the film was just for my personal use, but I thought with it being such a unique thing that I'd like to offer it to anybody who wants to see it. Things like that. And it's just a unique film of him.
He says, I beat you. He says, they say we came in under the dead heat. He says, that's not true because I beat you. And the American said, well, he says, if you like to think so, he says, but I know the real story. He says, I know I clearly won that one. See?
How do you end this thing? How do you put the where's the brakes on this bus? I forgot.
Jazz hands. Jazz hands are done.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.